Hey, everybody, welcome to this client spotlight. We have an amazing human being here for you, an amazing business owner who is really a light in his community. And so he's going to introduce himself better than I ever will. But he was part of the Seven Legends program. And yeah, I'm going to let you take it away, Hondo. Just introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
My name is Alejandro Valdez, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I do a lot of things. Mostly, I try to be a light in my community. Um, I own a tattoo shop, which I love. I do real estate, buying and holding, flips, almost the whole gamut. And I ran multiple under other businesses as well. Yeah.
Cool. I love it. Yeah, you are always up to something, always creating something. I love it. That's one of the things that I loved about our work, is that there were so many things that we got to work on. And, just out of curiosity, because someone's listening, they're going to hear a bit about the program, but what was happening for you that really led us together? Or yeah, just what had you say yes to coaching?
Yeah, I was in another mastermind group, a tattooer mastermind group that I really appreciated. James was a part of it, or you were a part of it, and you really spoke to me. And even though there was other people in the group, I always felt like you were talking to me. And I just believed in that program, and I wanted to grow more. I was at a time in my life where I had a lot of businesses, but they were becoming more of a stress than a love anymore. I guess to say I was getting burnt out. I think at the time I had 5 businesses going: a lawn care, a barber shop, the tattoo shop, the real estate, and a construction company. And I don't believe at the time they were serving me. Um, so we had genuinely got together, and yeah, I was in a real area of beginning burnout.
Yeah, and that's a common experience that I notice for business owners, especially serial entrepreneurs, that you can be up to so many different things, but when does it switch from doing something that you enjoy and love to having that burnout and that stress and those types of things? And so one of the questions that I guess I'd have for you that might come up for others is, what is the biggest thing that you had to overcome to say yes to doing the coaching together?
Um, I guess just fear. Fear of is this going to work, I guess. um, to invest that much into myself. I always invest into my businesses, but am I really willing to put this much money into just me, Hondo? And I mean, it was a
Mm.
big fear. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's not a small investment. So, that's it's definitely something, right? That not only making the investment, but putting that into yourself, right? Because it's often our natural inclination, right, can be to put that into a project or into the business or into other people. And so to put that into yourself, I think is huge, and it's a big step for people. And I think one of the things that we'll get into is how that started to show up right in our work, that investment into yourself, which I think is amazing. um, so yeah, where would you, is there any place that you'd like to start? Because I know you were dealing with the burnout, you were dealing with the stress, and you overcame this, really this fear of this investment in yourself, that question of, is this going to work? And can you talk a little bit about that question of, is this going to work? Because I think that's a question that a lot of people have when they come across coaching. Um, and you yourself have been in different programs. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm really curious just what the experience was like, and just what that meant to you of, is this going to work?
yeah, I would love to start there. I'll start at the beginning because I think that's a very powerful question. And me, I'm a very suspicious type person. So I'm always worried about the classes. I've been in a lot of classes, and they seem to be pretty much the same thing. You pay an amount of money, you show up once a week, and they give you a bunch of information. You try to decipher it yourself, and maybe it works, maybe it don't. But with this program specifically, one of the things I had wrote down was the day to day. I was able to contact you almost on a daily basis and discuss real time events when I really needed someone to bounce something off of. And that was very powerful for me in the way I learned. Um, but mostly, it was making an investment into myself. And I know this may seem crazy, but sometimes I'm the last person on the list. I'll invest into my business, into a property, or whatever it may be. But to put that much money into Hondo, and you helped me grow through that and to realize that I'm my best investment. I really am. Like, that was one of the things me and you worked on the most was learning how to show up for myself instead of like I would show up for a lot of different other people and try to grow them to grow my business instead of investing in myself to grow me to grow my business, if that makes sense. And I was really leery about putting the money up front to grow myself, but it's probably been one of the best investments I've ever made. And and I really thought that you were going to help me grow my business. I did. And I think almost every person who comes to the class thinks, okay, I'm going to pay this much money and this is the result. My business is going to grow this much. But it didn't work like that at all. I paid this amount of money and then you immediately showed up when we started working on me, my character, how I'm showing up to my clients and my people that were working underneath me or my team. How I was communicating with myself and others. And it was such a different thing than any mastermind that I've been in before because we never really worked on me. And I
Mm.
just thought that was so powerful. Because it's me. At the end of the day, it's me making the decisions. It's me trying to move with integrity. Um, People are watching me how I show up. And I just thought that was really powerful.
Yeah, I really appreciate you opening that up. I appreciate you sharing that because yeah, that's been my experience and a lot of the experience of my clients is that there's this idea, right, that we make an investment into a program and we're just going to grow the business and then we're going to, double our money or whatever it might be. And I once had a mentor to me say, if you ever find that program, just let me know. If I put this down and I automatically, get an additional amount back, let me know because I'll keep investing in that. And there are programs that have wonderful information, but like you said, they really don't take the leader into account. It's a lot of information, like you're talking about, and will you implement it or won't you? And you're meeting once a week. And I think just the way that you show up, right? Because this coaching doesn't work for everybody. It works for you because you wanted to make change, you wanted to grow, you were committed, right? It takes commitment, it takes focus. And even though you were perhaps having experiences of burnout and stress and things that were taking away your focus, we were able to connect and communicate each day to really help you stay on track where you wanted to direct your attention. And like you said, that ability to focus on yourself and what's important because and maybe you see this with other people, but sometimes they want to grow their business so they kind of just start hiring people or they just start investing in things, but before you know it, it becomes this thing that is unmanageable. And on top of that, it is sort of a reflection, right, of how we're actually, it's very much a reflection of how we're showing up, which you were talking about, of how is your relationship with your team? How are things, happening in your life? Are they distracting you from your business and the things that you want or the things that you need for yourself? And so I think just the way that you showed up in such a committed and focused way, and you were diligent about connecting, and you were courageous, right, in your sharing because you were willing to really put everything on the table to say, hey, here's what's happening. Here's what I need to talk about. I'm really seeking solutions in it. And a lot of times people just try to focus on the business, right? Like they wiggle out of the personal stuff, because they hope if they just fix the thing in the business, then everything else in their life will change. But it's really when we shift our relationship with ourselves, when we shift our relationships in our life, that a lot of things in the business start to change. So I really just want to reflect that back to you and acknowledge you for your courage in how you just continued to show up and stayed focused and committed and really developed a vision. So I want to thank you for just how you showed up. Um, what would you? Is there a particular moment from our coaching that stands out to you?
Yes, 100%. And I was thinking about it while you were talking right now, and I was just thinking like the vision. And I've made 1,000 different visions with 1,000 different people as I went through all these coaching programs. But I think people get confused about what the word vision means. Like they write goals down, or I would write stuff on paper. But that's where it would stay, is on paper. But we didn't just write stuff on paper. We didn't write what was best for the business. We wrote what I thought was best, what me and you had worked together, what was best for my life, which was
Mm,
much more powerful because it wasn't really about my business. We actually closed 3 of my businesses down, and
hmm
we were doing what actually was making me feel good and making me feel invigorated versus just doing more work to get money. And as we slimmed my vision down into something that was like actually something I wanted to do again, things got a lot more powerful. And my vision had very little to do with my business. Ultimately, I want to be a light in my community. How am I showing up? And it gives me purpose why I'm working so hard so I could give back into my community. And that vision just is so powerful, so much more than a goals list. And learning how to repeat that on a daily basis to myself, to where I believe in it and I just know like this is what my purpose is. And I think a lot of business owners, especially as they get bigger, we start losing our purpose and we get caught up in grind of just every day in and out, just working on this stuff. So it gave me a lot of purpose when I was starting to lose some purpose.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, yeah, that vision is powerful. And I just remember you coming into calls and you'd go, "Oh, you know what? I shared it with this person, and I shared it with
Yeah.
that person," and they started to understand your vision and be bought into it, and it helped shift relationships. It helped shift your relationship with team members. It helped shift what you were doing in your life because a lot of times when people make a vision, maybe they do it in the beginning of the year, or people join a program and then they scribble out a vision in the course of 90 minutes. And quite honestly, we probably spent 2 to 3 months on this vision. And the average person is going to hear that and go, "Oh my gosh, 2 to 3 months on a vision, like what a waste. I couldn't believe you spent so much time on that." But what they don't see is when you have a powerful vision like we created, not only do you have direction in there, not only do you have focus, but the way that it's written, the way that you speak it, it shifts how you show up. It shifts where you direct your energy, where you direct your attention. It shifts the way that you're creating because it really starts to inform all of your decision making. It starts to inform all of your relationships that you're able to really see, you know what, this person's good for me or this person is not. This team member is in alignment with the vision or this person is not. And I think you had shared a story with me last time we spoke, and we even were working on your communication and the vision in such a way that you were able to communicate it with someone and they were able to move on to what they wanted to do in their life instead of being in the business in the past where they would have gotten caught up in disagreements and what's happening at work. Is that right? Did I capture that correctly?
Yeah, 100%. It's like one of the things that we worked on that just end up playing itself out extremely well in multiple situations. It's like before I would really hold on to somebody when maybe they were not great no more to be a part of whatever we were doing. But now it was really easy for me. It was so easy for me to see it. No argument involved. It's like, hey, we're no longer running parallel with each other, and that's okay. If I
Mhm.
would never talk you out of believing what you believe in, that's 100%. But we're no longer in alignment, so we're going to separate here. I'm going to pull the car over and let you out, because
Yep.
my destination is California. Clearly, you're going to New York, and just having the ideology in my head, it made it so much more like okay. When before it was like, oh my God, I have to tell them like we're going to New York and they're going to California. Like, should I just keep going past their road? Like, but I clearly knew. And then later on, it was like a big blown up thing, and it just really cleared everything up. Just having a real belief in myself and where I'm going, and if somebody else isn't going that way, that's 100% fine. Let me know where you'd like me to pull over at. Like, I mean, and it was like it just happened very quickly. But like once I really started believing in that, other people did too. And even if I have to let one person out, three people want to get in. They want to be around people that are committed and believe in things and have values. And I don't know, it just really transpired in a very powerful way.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that because I think it gives people really the context, right, in which these experiences happen and the way that the vision shifts it. And as you continue to share your vision with people, it really helped clear up so many things in your life. And I think you told me you are still using a lot of this vision for direction, and even after our work had ended, that it still kept you going and showed you what you wanted to focus on and what you wanted to create. Do I have that right?
Yeah, 100%. So I have a lot of people in my life. We do a lot of business with a lot of people, but I find myself saying things that me and you worked on all the time to them. And it can be in any manner, whether it's in business, personal relationships. I mean, just them being better people, how they're showing up in life, how I'm showing up in life. And I feel our conversations flow through me on a daily basis with the barista at the coffee place, right away, right up to my top business associates. um, I it has impacted me in almost every manner, from the way I do with my son to my longtime girlfriend to my family, in every manner. And that's why I loved our program so much, because it wasn't so much a business course, even though it did affect my business powerfully. But it was a me course. We worked on me and how I'm showing up, and how I show up affects every area of my business,
Yeah.
from my family, my real estate. I mean, just everything. How I show up when I go to pick my coffee up. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that surprised you about our coaching?
I guess my main like aha moment would have been, most of these guys are doing this for money, and I hate to be so transactional. But I went to a lot of courses. You pay a amount, they rattle this stuff off, they get paid a certain amount. But in this, it wasn't transactional. I really felt that you cared, and I thought that was very powerful. Um, and maybe that's why it worked for me. Um, it's really hard to give your 100% if you don't think the other person is that interested in it. But once
Hmm.
I recognized that you were actually interested in me, then it was really easy to open up and try to grow, because I could tell that you were genuinely invested in me, that you wanted to see me win. And I thought that was powerful.
I appreciate that. Is there anything in particular I did that had you feel that true investment in you?
Yes, even though this wasn't business related, I was actually going through a breakup with my significant other. And a lot of people would have maybe said some negative comments because things weren't really going well. But you never did. You always believed in me. Even if I was making bad decisions or not, you held me accountable. But you never I guess you showed you really cared through that situation because that had nothing to do with like our business stuff.
Mm,
And you helped me through it, and that was a powerful thing, you know.
yeah. And yeah, and anyone listening, I would want them to know that, right? Because our goal, especially as a coach, is to one, be on your team, right? Because I'm here to be of service to you. And then the other part of that is to stay objective, right? Because we don't want to be saying anything bad about other people. We just want to handle life objectively. And I think I'd probably use this with you, but I often use it with clients, which is anytime we're in resistance to reality, life is difficult. And so a lot of coaching is looking at what is objectively happening, what is our response, how are we handling that, and is that the way that we're handling things of the highest service for what we want to create for our vision, what we want for our life, and is it serving both people? And to me, I think just even that foundational item can totally transform somebody's life, and I think it made a big difference in yours. Um, and there's a phrase that you use. Um, I I don't have the wording correctly, but you talk about most people think they have a business problem, but something about they're bringing their personal life into their business. What is it? So I
Uh,
can get it
I
right.
say this one time, and I just thought it was really powerful. It was in one of your posts, and I use it all the time. It's people don't have a problem with their business; they have a problem with bringing their personal business into their business. Um,
Mm,
Meaning, like most of the time, your business would do well, but it's me. I'm self sabotaging my own business by bringing my personal business into my business. Meaning, like I have a personal life and my business life, and sometimes I'll bring the drama that's in my personal life into my business, and it reflects. My employees know, my team members know, my managers know, they know something's going on. But once you showed me how to start really loving myself and being on my own team, they recognize that really quickly as well. And they said, "Oh, he's on his team. He really believes in himself. He's going to go all the way." And once they knew that, they wanted to go all the way. Everybody wants to be on the winning team. But if you're not even showing up for yourself, then it's really hard for them to believe in it because it's just really powerful. Like, and I've seen it 1,000 times. Like, I would see other people and I could just tell they really didn't believe in what they were selling. You know what I mean? But then I meet other people that are like, their product might not even be that good, but they really believe in it. I'm like, let me try it, man. If you're so gun ho over this food, I'm gonna try and see how good it is, you know? And that was really it. Was a simple switch to turn on my head. It's just like, and we worked on it. It took a long time to really get it. It's like, Hondo, I show up for everybody else, but can I show up for me? Can I really get on my own team? Do I really want to see me win over other people? People pleasing. I mean, there was a whole gamut of things that came along with that. But at the end of the day, that's what it was. Like, could I really believe in me?
mm.
And over the last, I don't know, maybe year, um, I really started to grow and starting to live into that. And like I said, it reflects in every area of my life. Can I show up for me? Meaning, can I show up for my son? You know, how I'm showing up, how I act as a dad is a direct reflection on him. He sees it every day. If I'm happy, he's happy. If I'm not doing good, he senses it. So, like, that's a direct reflection all the time. Then my personal relationship here at home, how I'm showing up every day, if I'm okay with me, reflects how she's doing every day. And the happier I am, she's very, very more pleased. And then it trickles down into work and then my businesses and with other people that I'm around. And it has brought great success to us.
Yeah, I'm so happy for that, and you're right, and I think I probably showed it to you during the program, and for anyone that is interested in it, there's a triad, I call it, right, and the
Yeah.
foundation is right your personal power, and then you have your business alignment and the life alignment, and anytime one of those are off, right? If your personal power is off, it's going to affect your business. It's going to affect your relationships. If your life alignment is off and there's chaos and drama happening, it's going to seep into the business. It's going to affect your personal power and vice versa, right? If things in the business are going off, it's going to affect the relationship at home or relationship with kids. It's going to affect how we're taking care of ourselves. Um, so yeah, I really love you having shared that, and it's kind of funny. I didn't know that I had written that in one of my own posts, so so I'm glad it stuck out. Um, but what would you say? Because I want to make sure I respect our time. What would you say are some of your favorite wins that you had through our coaching?
Well, the personal power. I think that was probably my weakest area, even though I thought I was doing very strong. But that personal power, I was really lacking in, and I didn't know how to identify it. I really didn't know how to, as you would like to say, show up on my own team. Um, and that little switch right there was like the floodgates to making my business truly powerful. Because as soon as I started showing up, deals started showing back up again, workers started showing back up again. Just, um, I don't want to say I was letting people run over me, but I was probably allowing a lot more stuff to happen than I really would.
Hmm.
But once I start showing up on my own team and realize that it's okay that I don't have to keep every single person, and it's okay if they're on a different path, things just really improved. Business improved. So any like real wins, I got me back. That was like the most powerful win. I really got me back. I got my family back. I started enjoying what I was doing again. I'm like everybody I know is like, Hondo, I see you're a lot happier. And like it was like a monumental change inside of me is like I was feeling good again. I was laughing. Me and you had discussed first I gotta conquer my own house, then I could conquer my city, then I could conquer my state, and I just started expanding from there. It's like first I locked me down. Then once I locked me down, I started finding things that actually made me happy. Going dancing, doing the fishing, stuff I hadn't really done before, doing hikes, going out to comedy clubs, which are awesome, you know. And as I started doing this, other people started seeing it and they want to be a part of it. Like I want to go too. Like it's just a powerful thing to believe in your own self. And that was my biggest.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, I remember that, right? That you had shared that you had reached a point where you had a lot of people, that were doing a lot of different things for you. And I think that was one of the first things that we had spoke about. I was like, well, Honda, let's get you doing the things that you want to do, right? Because if we have people in our life that are or on our team that aren't necessarily looking out for us, then they don't really care, right? Whether you're burnt out, stressed, or whatever it is, as long as they're getting what they want. And the fact that you started to really be on your own team, to shift how you were showing up and the way you were taking care of yourself. Yeah, I remember you'd send pictures of the fishing trips, or you'd be out with your son, and so many magical moments that to me are really the things that make the memories that help you be reinvigorated again. And just to have all of that back into alignment, it starts to, like you said, open up the different deals and things. um, yeah, is there anything else that stood out to you, or any wins that really made a difference for you?
Um, as far as like a financial win, I had a lot of stuff that was pending, but once I was really able to start saying yes for myself financially, I started winning as well. Um,
Hmm.
I think this year alone we've already made like 683,000. It's barely February. We closed a big apartment complex. We've closed multiple houses already. So financially, which I know matters, we won really strongly. Um, but that was only through the work we did internally first. Once I
Yeah.
won internally, then the financial wins started snowballing very quickly, um, which makes life a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe I remember there was a moment, if it's okay to share, and if not, we'll cut it out. But I remember there was a moment, and one of the areas that we did a lot of work on, right, tied to the vision, was how we speak about ourselves, how we have connection and communication. And I remember there was a moment that you had shared that there was this investment that you had made, and that there was, I think you said, about, kind of 500K on the line, that we talked about different ways to facilitate conversations, that it ended up helping get that deal back on track. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, 100%. I was in a deal that was not going well for a lot, and I felt like it was getting outside of my control, and headed for a bad area. And we worked on it. We had some tough conversations. And the truth is, I was scared, and the other person was scared. And without communicating, it was making things worse. And by just showing up on my own team, I was able to communicate to him that, hey, I'm scared too, but this is something, could be something powerful. Why don't we just sit down and work this out? And it really did. It worked out. When in previous times, I probably would have let it go, or backed away, or started struggling with it and made it worse. But just learning how to communicate better, and like, I always want to bring it back to that, just showing up on my own team, man. Like, if I really want to win for me, I got to make the tough decisions with me and be like truly honest with myself. Like, is this something I'm okay with? Is this something I'm not okay with? Is this something worth it? And then going towards that, walking into fear and sorting things out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to give a reflection, to anyone that is listening to our conversation here, because the way that we show up is so powerful. The way that we understand how to communicate with others makes a huge difference. And I'm not going to claim to be some real estate person, but I will claim to be really invested in people
Yeah.
and be on their own team. That my goal, right, is to help you really own your personal power, to be on your own team, to help you improve the relationships and communication in your life, to help you improve the relationships with your team. And I remember, right, we'd have conversations or messages, and you talk about this deal, and we talk about, how might you want to say something, or what do you think the best move is. That part of coaching is not me being an expert in your area. It's helping you own your expertise in your area and really stepping into your power. And you did that in so many different ways, in your personal life, in your business, with yourself. And it shows, especially with the wins, right, that you've already shared. um, what would you tell somebody who might be, watching this, and they're thinking, oh, you know what, would this coaching be right for me, or should I reach out? What would you tell someone, like, who is this for and who is it not for, would
Yeah.
you say?
I guess it would be for people that are, I guess it would be people for that are really looking to grow. I know a lot of people say they want to grow, they're interested in growing, but do you have the capacity to grow? And if you do, like, if you're really interested in it, it's not going to work for you if you're not serious. If you're not serious enough to be honest with yourself. I guess that was one of the hardest things to do, is I know everybody says, yeah, I'm honest with myself, but are you? You know what I mean? Are you really ready to look at your own self, be held accountable, and say, okay, I want to grow internally, not in my business? Like, because this is an internal thing. If you're not willing to work on yourself internally, then this probably isn't for you. But if you are interested in working on yourself, then once you get internally right, your business external is going to get powerful very quickly, because you're going to
Mhm.
understand a lot of other things very fast. And it seemed like that for me as well. Like, I was really nervous about making such a big investment, but once I did, at first I was like, why are we talking about all these films? Like, my business needs help right now. But we set all that to the side. We worked on me. We went through a lengthy period to build this very powerful vision. And once I started to believe in something again, it was like I bloomed right away. So that's the people I think this will work for. Is people that are really ready to be honest and that are dedicated to trying to grow.
Yeah. And thanks for illuminating that. And it makes me remember, because one of the first things, right, that we had first talked about was, you even said, you're like, James, I don't have a vision, or I've tried to make a vision before, but I don't feel like I have a vision. It's just a goals list. And that's when we really started to spend time really cultivating that vision and making sure that it connects with you, because a vision that you're not connected with is really no vision at all. And I really love that you shared that someone has to be committed to doing that inner work. I remember I had once, well, probably more than once, but I've worked with people and they want their business to grow, and maybe they're saying, well, they didn't outright say it, but I kind of got the message, right, that they were getting into a lot of disagreements, right, with their significant other. And when it came to talking about that, they were unwilling to talk about that. And to me, that's a very glaring thing, right? You have this thing happening in your personal life, but you're unwilling to talk about it because you just want to focus on the business. And you're right, that type of showing up in that way, unwilling to look at things, well, it won't work for that person. And so I've gotten better at vetting those people. But you were courageous and you were willing to look at everything. And I don't think, you can let me know your experience, but I don't think there was ever, I see some coaches where they try to really jar their clients. I don't think I really approach things from a place of conflict. I think I kind of, put things out there and then you get to kind of accept it or reject it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think so too. I think that during the roughest time of like the beginning of this, when I was really going through this breakup, you were so tender with me. Like you were so soft with me. Like when everybody else in my life was having really negative things to say about like some of the situations, you never picked sides. Even though you were my coach, you were like, "Hey, man, like decisions were made, and everybody had a choice. This is what you chose, Hondo. This is what this other person chose." And I mean, it was really helpful to have that in my life at that time in that manner, because in that same exact way you showed me that showed up in other ways really quickly. Like, hey, James really believes in me. You could have made some negative comments, but instead you said, "Hey, Hondo, these are the facts. This decision was made here, and this decision was made here. You made this one, another person made this one. These are the answers, regardless of all the feelings." And that was just so powerful for me. And then later on in my business life, I was able to see that too. Like, hey, this was made and this was made. This is the decision this person made. I don't have to try to tell them anything different. Cool. If it's not in alignment with what my vision is, that's great. Thank you for letting me know today that you're going to New York and I'm still on my way to California. Because now I don't have to, nothing else. You've made your decision. I don't have to like sift through why you did it, how, for what reason it benefits you. It's cool. And we did that when it was really critical. So later on in other decisions, it was so much more easier to do it. And I thought that was very powerful.
Yeah, because when you can do that with the people, that are closest to you in your life or areas that are most tender, then you can do that, right, with anyone moving forward. And that is what creates a lot of that messiness or that gray area for people. And we all experience that as humans. Is we could have a team member, we could have someone in our personal life that they're literally telling us, what they want, but we actually could have a lot of care for somebody that we're kind of trying to drag them along, or we're trying to keep ourselves together. And when you make those powerful decisions, when you're on your own team, things really start to clear up. And I think you had written something down. was it the you mentioned about being a power source? Is that right?
One of the things that my vision was is I always wanted to be a light in my community. But what I don't want to be, and it took me a while to realize this, is I don't want to be somebody's power source. Like I want to reflect my light on other people by being positive, by doing good, by showing them that I love them. I can either show them where to find a tool, show them how to create a tool, or but I don't have to be the tool. So, with that being said, like a lot of the people that I was doing business with that maybe weren't no longer aligned with me, I was still letting them hook up to my power source, and they were draining me. So once I learned to show up on my own team and just be a light in the community, and I realized that I don't have to say yes to every person, but I still can help them. I can be a light in the community. I could set them up with a resource. There's a lot of things I can do. And once I started doing that, most of the time it was like I was in my own way. They were just looking for a resource, and here I go volunteering for it, And then so I can't even really blame it on nobody else. But then I started being on my own team, and I realized like, hey, I ain't got to do that every time. I can do it when I feel it because I want to be someone that helps other people out. Um, I just didn't want to be nobody's light source.
Yeah. It makes me think because I remember we did a lot of work on that and just how to navigate those type of situations because we can be such a caring person. In this case, you're such a caring person that you love to help people with things, but we never want to rob them, right, of having their own experience and their responsibility. And I think the example you would use is let's say you're here and the other person's here, but let's say you're working your way up. If you're dragging them with you, if you're not there, all of a sudden they just drop back down because they haven't been able to support themselves in that way. And so we worked on how to facilitate those conversations to help them grow, to not take on their own responsibilities. Because a lot of times in business, and I'm sure you've seen this in workshops, people do SOPs, standard operating procedures, or they start to implement new systems. And before you know it, even with SOPs, even with new systems, all of a sudden you have people still asking you plenty of questions, or they're wanting help with different things. Or you thought you were making things easier by bringing on a new system. And all of a sudden, you're having to learn the new system yourself while training others. And it ends up being a whole thing that we showed you, right, how to have the conversations that allowed them to really take ownership of their areas without you having to take it on. Does that make sense? Did I get that right?
100%. And I utilize that almost in every area of my life. With my property manager, with my maintenance people, um, just with everybody. Even with my son, you know, I make
Yeah.
sure he does stuff so I don't take away from him like the quality of learning. I have him come outside. We want to work on his bike. I give him the wrench. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like it just in all areas. Um, I could show them how to create a tool. I could show them how to create a resource, or I could show them where the tools are at. But I don't have to be the tool.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. And I know you had written a few things down that were important for you to share. Is there anything that we haven't touched on?
No, we talked about the power source, the day to day, where I was at and where I was. That's probably the only thing I haven't talked about is like where I was at and where I was. Like I thought I know we talked a lot about me, but I want everybody to know in the group that or anybody that's watching this that as far as business is concerned, we did grow like exponentially in the business. But first, I grew myself internally. But as far as my business was concerned, when I started talking with James, I think I barely had enough to pay for the payment. I wasn't doing great financially, even though I had in the past. I had let a lot of my businesses kind of flounder. I was really burned out. Even though I owned one of the main tattoo shops in my area, it wasn't doing super well. And I don't even like truly admitting that sometimes, but it is a fact. Did it cut out?
It cut out. I think maybe you're back.
I could start over. I just wanted to touch on the area about where I was at when I started this and where I'm at today. I thought that was very powerful because sometimes it's hard to admit where you were really at. And when I started talking with James, my tattoo shop wasn't doing too good. Neither was most of my other businesses. I was very burned out, and I think I barely even had enough to pay for like the beginning sessions of this stuff. I was extremely strapped for money, but I wanted to grow really bad, so I made the decision to invest and went ahead with it. And even though we really didn't work on business stuff per se at first, we worked on me and how to show it for myself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, my businesses did grow. Um, like I said, I was barely able to make the payment. My tattoo shop, I wasn't even sure if I was going to keep it or not keep it. I had a construction company that I needed to make some hard decisions with the people that were running it. I had a lawn care business that was operating pretty poorly. I had a barber shop, and me and that partner were not doing well. Um, and so I had to really sit down and work with James on like what to keep, what not to keep, what was benefiting me, what wasn't benefiting me, what was profiting me, what was profiting me, but I didn't like, versus what may not have been profiting that much, but that I really did like. I had to go through all of that stuff, and it was a really big process, and it took quite a bit of time. But at the end of the day, I used to have 5 businesses. Now I have 2. I have the tattoo shop because I love it. I do the real estate for money. And they are extremely prosperous right now. Like I said previously, I think we're barely in February. I just refied 10 of my properties after I solidified all my portfolio, tightened everything up. I didn't really buy nothing new. I just reorganized my whole plan, refied it. I mean, in the very first month, January, we've already bought one single unit. We bought a 4-unit apartment complex, and we refied 10 of our units for $683,000. Um, and when I started this, I could barely make the payment to James. Like,
Mhm.
I was really struggling. And I don't really like to admit that, but I think it needs to be said. So, people who are thinking about making this investment, I just want to be really clear that once I worked on myself and I got strong, my business immediately cleaned up. And we're barely in February. We probably had the most best year we've had in 10 years.
Wow.
So, it did tighten up right away once I was able to really determine what's suiting me, like what's good for me. What did I really want to be doing? What could I still believe in and still love? And once I cut everything else off, I mean, I started being happy to go to work again. I started feeling powerful at my decisions at my other real estate job. Like, I wasn't so distracted by a lot of things that weren't serving me. And it took a lot of internal work to find out, can I be honest with myself and tell myself like what is really serving me versus
Mm.
what I think I want, what I'm doing for other people. And I think as you get bigger in business, we start getting confused on a lot of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for, giving that contrast for people. And, you know, essentially, right? Because you done really well, and then there was this period of time, right, that happened where you mentioned the burnout and the stress. And to me, that's it, right? That's an indicator, right, that things have gone off, or something has happened. But a lot of times we're in it, so we aren't necessarily able to recognize our own power as much. We're kind of just in a mindset of, get me out of this. I don't want to be feeling this way. And when we're in those moments is when we're looking for the coaching, but it's actually probably the most challenging time to afford it. And it really does take a courageous decision, a courageous act to bet on yourself, to believe in yourself. And the way I've operated my business, and you had some experience with me and my coaching. So even though you have that suspicious side to you, where you're kind of feeling somebody out, I think when you're able to experience that coaching and you notice the difference that it makes for you, the fact that you were able to make that courageous step of making the investment, which is really in yourself, right? To say, hey, you know what, I'm going to choose to continue this. And so I love that you're experiencing the difference. The vision has helped guide you, and that what we're doing has really come through in so many different areas. Is there anything else you'd like to share of just how life has shifted for you since our coaching, or what things are like now?
Yeah, I live day to day. And I try to have a good day every day, but mostly I was working 80 hours a week. I was a slave to my business. I worked in my business, not on my business. Now things are like polar opposite. I'm at home 6 days a week with my son. We play outside, we throw snowballs. I have a property manager who has proper expectations. My level of communication and my level of expectations are crystal clear. She knows exactly what to do. My maintenance people are on a strict regiment. They know exactly what's up. Um, the people at the tattoo shop are doing well. They're very happy, and they have clear expectations as well. And now, mostly, I do a lot of work in the morning times. I get up at 5. I do all my real estate stuff. I make phone calls and whatnot. Um, by 10, 11 o'clock, I mean, I've already got my son ready, took him to school, set him up with breakfast. And I spend a lot of time being a dad now. And that's where I really wanted to be. At the end of the day, I really wanted to be at home with my son, spending this most precious time with him. He's 4 years old. When just last year, I mean, I was working 80 plus hours a week every day, all day.
Mhm. Yeah.
I wasn't really even seeing him that much. So it's been a really big difference. And I'm probably making more money now than I was ever making then, putting
Yeah.
in that.
That's amazing. And I love that you're getting to spend every day with him. And, I think one of the things that I want to share is because you've done a lot of masterminds, you've been in plenty of business courses. Um, would you say that this has kind of, because I know you said even though you did those things, you were still working in the business, even though you were trying to work on the business. Would you say that through this, it kind of helped bring that together from all those different things you have learned?
100%. I think the biggest step in all of my growth has been through this. And I tell that to people all the time. It was through the personalness of it. You showed up so powerfully that I was able to really believe into something. And in the other groups, even though I had got a lot of information, um, nobody showed up that they actually really cared. But you did.
Mm,
So through that, I was able to really believe in it.
yeah.
You believed in me, I could believe in you. Once I believed in you, we grew.
Yeah, absolutely. Partners in expansion. I love
Yeah,
it.
Bill Sharp
Um,
deal.
yeah. What would you tell someone? I want to respect your time. What would you tell someone who's on the fence about getting into coaching like this?
Do it. I guess that's all I could say. No matter what, like I'm a serial learner. I read books, everything. If you're ever questioning yourself, do some soul searching. But I like saying something that Grant Cardone says all the time. He said, "You know why you ain't winning? Because you ain't doing the deals. Got to do the deals." So I mean, I got to do the deals, no matter if I'm scared, no matter if I'm worried, no matter if I'm cautious. I got to be doing the deals. If I don't do the deals, I won't grow.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's me. That was my biggest thing is like I would invest anything. I'll put money into a toilet, a bathroom back vanity, anything. But when it comes to me, Hondo, I don't even buy myself a new pair of shoes. You know what I mean? But I'll spend $6,000 on a new bathroom for my rental.
Yeah.
But I can't afford no new pants for me. So I get it for people that are looking at this and wondering like, Man, invest in yourself, man. It was my most powerful investment I've ever made. I just
Perfect.
invest.
Thank you so much, Hondo. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience of coaching, your wins, and what the journey was like for you. Um, before I go, is there anything else that you want to say, or do you feel complete?
I feel really good. I just wanted to say one thing to you, just on a personal level. Like, thank you for believing in me, man. I really love you, James. Thank you.
You got it. I love you too, man. And I always rave about you as one of my favorite clients. So thank you. And thank you everybody for watching. Hondo share his experience. It takes courage to step up and do that. And if you are interested in coaching and you want to make changes in your own life, you want to make changes in your business, most importantly, you want to make changes with yourself, then shoot me a message. You can find me at jmwhiteman.com. And otherwise, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Hondo.